If you watch my videos over the past few years now, you get to realize that I worked in a lot of different companies. And as one guy used to say, every time I meet you, you're working someplace different. The guy worked only during the summer as a car hop with sandwiches. I worked with him, went to high school with him, and we used to tease him that his class ring said 1945. He stayed back like 3 times, and he finally did get out of high school. And then we had our high school reunion at this one place. He was actually serving us the food, but he used to make comments like, every time I meet you, you're working a different place. And then this other guy said to me, gee, you seem to have worked everywhere. And I was telling the truth. I was telling the story about Radio Shack. I have pictures of me working at Radio Shack. I don't know. Some people they work one job their whole life, and they can't conceive someone would switch jobs or work at more than one place in a lifetime. But what I'm getting to now is all the experience I had in my life. I worked in a place called Wilway for 3 years while I went to tech school. I did assembly work, soldering, wiring, chassis, terminal strips, okay? But I never seen one of these, okay? And this is the running joke we used to have when you would see something you never saw before, and everybody else knew what it was. It'd say, you must have been sick that day. In other words, at school, you would miss maybe some type of formula or something that everybody else knew, and we would say, you must have been sick that day that they taught it. But I might have seen these out of the corner of my eye and something, but that's a terminal on the top, and it's a 632 threaded hole on the bottom, and it gets mounted on the chassis with a 632 screw, but it doesn't go through. Okay, it's insulated. This terminal on top is insulated from the bottom, and it's made by a company called Cambion. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Cambion, and it's called a terminal turret. That's Turret, turret. And after I had one of these in my hand, this fell out of one of the command radios, or came out of a command radio, and the guy painted himself basically into the corner with wiring it up, and then he had an extra wire that needed to go to a capacitor, but he had nowhere really to stick it. Now, here's the type of terminals I pulled out of the same radio. This is very, very standard phenolic. You know, you can call that brown Bakelite. And these are the ones I always use. And if I need to go to a ground, I'll use this terminal. And I need insulation from ground, I'll use that terminal. And I'll cut it right over here. I cut through the center of this hole on this one, snap it, and then file it back and make it look nice. I save these, and I make these whatever I want. Okay, I have all kinds of sizes of this, but I never saw one of these. Now, I was looking, are there ones that look identical to this, and maybe they're black in color and they go to ground? I haven't found them yet. I've ordered like 30 of these. Now, these can be anywhere from $6 each. Yeah, I'm serious. $6 each. If you buy 30, you can get it down to about 90 cents each. So that's what I did. I bought a package of 30. And you don't get the screws with it, or the bolts. But I just wanted to show you that. Some of the crazy things in life you run up against. Okay? And then I start thinking about when I worked in this one company, used to look through an eyepiece, and you would look through I want to say a microscope thing, but it would be an eyepiece with 2 lenses, right and a left, and it wasn't magnified. And you look through that, and then down below there was this white round surface with a light behind it. And you would hold glass, and you'd rotate the glass, and you could actually see the stress in the glass. So I figured it worked with polarized light. The eyepiece you look through is polarized one way, and then the light source is polarized another way. So where I'm working, one day this unit went out, and the girl said that so-and-so was working with it, and now when you look through it, even though the light's on, as soon as you look through the eyepiece, it's black. It's like the light's off, and I'm thinking it's polarized light. uh, the light source has been rotated 90 degrees or whatever it is on polarized light. I think it's 90 degrees. So I go over and I look at it, and you can tell the light's been changed a million times. This piece of equipment must have been from the early electron tube days. And I start looking at it, and there's only 3 screws that hold the white surface over the light bulb. So I undo the 3 screws, and I lift it off, and the light bulb's on. And then you look through the eyepiece, and the light bulb's on. Now you put this white field back on it, and looking from the side, the white field is white, but when you look through the eyepiece, it's black. There's no light at all. So I start rotating it, and then I realize that somebody actually put their own holes in it. Okay, there's the set where it only lines up a certain way, so you can't screw up the polarization. But then somebody else that changed the light bulb couldn't get the holes to line up, so he made his own holes, and that's what caused the problem. So what I did was I put a magic marker or scratch marks to line up, so I knew if I ever had to change it again. It never went bad the whole time I was in that company. But there's so many things in life that you run up against, and I told you I stick stuff out. And right now I'm at a point where I'm sort of ordering stuff, and I know they may never get used, you know. But I thought when I saw this thing, and it took me forever to find it. I put down every combination, terminal, standoff terminal, and then finally I said, let me just stay on eBay. And I stayed on eBay, and bang, I found it that way. I found ones that were similar to this, and there's this top part where you put your resistor through here and then solder it. There's ones that's got a post with 2 levels. Well, once you see this, go look at Cambion or Terminal Turret. You'll see what I'm saying. This comes in many different types of terminals on the top, and I have a certain way of building. Like I said, I cut these up and make these whatever I want them to be. And whenever I take something apart that has them, I save them. And then I salvage them and I reuse them. But I bought a bag of these one time at Radio Shack, a mixed bag. And then they had really cool ones at the Electronic Barn. And they were so cheap because nobody really builds anything. Even 20 years ago, the guys that built stuff, it was mostly printed circuit boards. So I would see stuff and I'd buy up. And that's what I do. I tend to buy things up thinking maybe in the future I'll use it, you know. And I told you I'm basically burnt out. I did a lot of building just in the last few months. I'm looking at just in the last years or so, I built 2 radios from scratch in ammo cases. I go in that room and I look, I'm like, holy crap. But I like to stay busy. Now, what I've come to as a conclusion in all this is if you go on YouTube and go around, most people do deal in nostalgia. Old cars, old motorcycles, old bicycles, old radios, old tools. People find an old tool that's all rusty and they'll rebuild it. And it's nostalgia. They really don't have a use for that tool, but they rebuild it. And I'm looking at this stuff going, I think it's in every man. And then when you're doing it, you're disconnected from the world. All the nonsense in the world. Like, here's an example of what's in my head right now. I used to walk every day up to 4 hours, all over the place. Then one of my neighbors started walking with me, and I don't want to go there today. I wanted to, so my walk became his walk. And I have my legs swell if I stand in one spot too long. I have a hernia, it comes out if I stand in one place too long. But if I keep moving, I'm fine. So he would walk real fast, but he only for a short distance. I like to go out for more than an hour. And I stop and talk to people for a short period of time, and he really didn't like that. Well, anyway, we were walking about a year ago. He started coughing, and I said, you should get that checked out. Well, he's got lung cancer. And it ended up, I gave him some scenarios because he really didn't believe that the hospitals were overwhelmed by COVID. So the Lancaster Hospital is overwhelmed by COVID. So he goes there, he can't breathe. The cancer has spread into his windpipe. He can't breathe at all. And 4 days before, he was out walking, making believe he was fine. Well, anyway, goes to the hospital. They said, we can't help you. They helicoptered him down into Philly to another hospital. And I had told them the same story, that a woman basically didn't believe about COVID. She didn't get her shots or whatever. She ended up at the hospital and they couldn't take her. So they put her on a helicopter and fly her to another hospital. She comes home to a bill in the mailbox of whatever, I think it was $15,000 for the helicopter. And he's going to get, I had told him that story, but he really didn't believe that there was a real problem in the country. Okay, and then we had another guy in the neighborhood that we talked to, both of us talked to. He thought it was all a hoax, and then he got the COVID. And it was at the same time he needed a pacemaker, and they turned him away for the pacemaker. Now he had to go through COVID without well, anyway, I'm watching these people go through hell, and tomorrow I'll probably go for my booster shot. But I just want to tell you, I have stuff going through my head that shouldn't be there. And it comes down to, I always put myself out there, and I get involved with people. Now, I've known him for a lot of years, and his roommate that lives with him wants me to do, I'm getting involved. He's got brothers, that's their job. And I had told him when he retired to be more connected with his brothers, because in the future, if you get sick, they'll help you. If they get sick, you'll help them. I went down that road, okay? I'm getting involved. And a couple of neighbors said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm not doing anything. I said, when I left my old neighborhood, one person helped me. Most, when I called them up to see how they were doing, they didn't want to talk to me. I'm gone. You know, they can't use me anymore. And I felt very hurt about that, but people are people. And, you know, like this one person I used to call, she says, nobody even asks about you. I said, yeah, I kind of expected that when nobody come over to say goodbye. And I was a very outgoing person. I am here, but I've changed the way I'm doing things, you know? And that's what I just want to tell you. I'm at this point now, it's like, I've built everything, but I understand why. I have attachment to radios because me and my dad used to work on them. And that's what other people have with the cars. They got their first car. They had friends. They worked on it together. And you carry these memories. And when you're working on a car, an old car, and restoring it, you're detached yourself from reality. It is reality, okay? Let's put it that way. Working on a car is a lot of work to it. And you're detaching yourself from the reality of the world for a few hours, and that makes you happy. You're going to your happy place, okay? Now, when I work on radios, I'm basically going to my happy place, all right? And sometimes I'll watch, I always tell you I watch Shango 66, and say his video's a half hour. So for a half hour, I watch him going through the same stuff I go through. And I was laughing yesterday, Saturday. He had a radio that was bodged. And he kept saying this radio doesn't look touched. It doesn't look like anyone touched it. And I'm looking at it, I'm seeing the filament string strung through up above the chassis. And I'm like, that radio's been touched, you know? And I don't know whether I don't know what he was up to, or he didn't realize that. But when they make radios in the old days, they always ran the filament windings, the wires between filaments along the chassis. It gets rid of hum. So anyway, he feels right away. He figures out that there's a resistor that's wrong, and he got to it. He found the exact schematic and realized that someone was in that radio. And I was laughing so hard. I said, you know, I'm thinking to myself, I've never gotten something from Radio Shack. I never got something from eBay that someone didn't have their fat fingers in it. Like I had the one radio, I got it apart. I've salvaged parts for command radios. Here's all the screws you need. Nameplate, standoffs. And that's what it's become. I kept a few of these. But in other words, I watched what he went through, and I've gotten radios from eBay where I opened it up and I said, nobody's been here. Absolutely nobody's in here. And then as I go look and I find wires that have been snapped or cut. And the one radio has been sprayed with that antibacterial stuff. That's what I think's on here. Yeah, this yellow stuff is antibacterial. And the person started cutting to, what do you call it? You cut out all the inside. Basically, you gut the radio, according to the article. And the person cut all the wires to get ready to gut the radio, but then I guess they realized they didn't want to do it. And that's how I got the radio. When I first looked at it, I said, man, this one hasn't been touched. And then when I saw all the wires cut and then that coating, that yellow coating to prevent bacteria, if things going to be used near the jungle or that. And I just use that as a parts radio. But some of the funny things that go through my head and some of the things I experience is all because I get involved. So today I'm out walking the neighborhood and I'm picking up all the garbage because last night it got real windy. And this guy comes by me and he's got a camper, a real nice camper by his house. I said, hey, I'm on my way over to get that pizza box. What pizza box? The pizza box by your camper. I didn't see any pizza. I said, that pizza box been there for a month, right next to your camper where you got to park. So anyway, as I'm walking his way, he can walk faster than me. He comes back with the pizza box. I said, just fold it up and I'll put it in my garbage bag. I go along with a garbage bag and a pair of those litter tongs. He says, no, I'll take care of it. And I said, what's with the bicycle over there? Oh, it's not mine. I said, the bicycle's been next to your camper. It's 2 weeks now. So I go over there and I pick the bicycle up and I wheel it home. And on the way home, I meet one of my, I call my associates in the neighborhood. And he takes bicycles into the city and a guy rebuilds them for kids. It was a Mongoose, but it was probably a model out of Walmart. But it was missing all the brakes. Not the calipers, the cantilevers were there, but the pads were missing. And I looked at some other stuff, and there's some pieces there that could probably be used by someone that's going to take a bunch of bikes apart and make one and give it to a needy kid. So that's where it is. It's on the back of a truck now. It's going out there. But every 4 months, someone will take a bicycle out of the garbage, ride it around a little bit, and then dump it somewhere. And then nobody picks it up. It'll sit in front of a person's house for a month. All right, it might move. A kid will get on it, ride it a little further, and then it moves. It slowly moves around the neighborhood, and then it ends up down in the creek. So when I see one now, I give it a couple days, and then I go over and I look it over, and I know right away what a bike looks like that nobody wants. And I wheel it home, and I either give it to that guy or I call a guy up that has an apartment complex, and I ask him if I can throw it in his dumpster. But I stay busy. But I got all this stuff bouncing around in my head. And that's why I really like to have a project. Because I get away from that stuff, And now having all these TV channels does it too. In other words, I can sit and watch a Western at night or during the day, or when I'm eating supper at night, I can watch that 70s show. That's what I've been doing. That's why I needed to get the TV channels straightened out after the repack. But, I have a certain system, but I'm looking into why do I have so many radios, And then I'm looking at Shango and a bunch of other people have been doing that handheld, software defined radio, SDR? Something like that. Well, anyway, oh, look at this. Here's CHU Canada. Here's WWV. Yeah, what else? And you can see, like on an FM station, you could see the subcarriers and stuff, like if they have SCA on it. But what does the radio do other than another radio? After you get done looking at each signal and realizing it's FM, and you have to hit a button for wideband FM, you have to hit a button for narrowband FM, it's all lipstick on a pig, And then he says, basically this radio works a lot better with an outside antenna on it. Well, now it becomes it's a table model. As soon as you have to hook an outside antenna to something, and then the batteries don't stay charged that long. Well, now you got to hook a power adapter to it. Well, you just bought yourself a table model. See, I look at everything a radio. The reason I want it is I've never seen one before, or it's unique in some way. Now the SDR is just one step above the phase lock loops type stuff. Uses a microprocessor and the whole game, But the SDR is you can change the software. They download new software to it, and all that does is change the button options. You're never going to make the radio work better with more software, unless it's like an update on the decoding of FM or FM wide, FM narrow. But I was looking at the reviews of this thing, and nobody's really using it for anything. It's just like a gimmick, like an iWatch or whatever you want to call these things. It's like, well, I have my iWatch. It tells me my blood pressure. But, you're 40 years old. What are you worrying about your blood pressure for? And some of the stuff is, I always say, lipstick on a pig. In the end, you really don't need it. And That's what's happening. People are buying stuff that they really don't need. They're addicted to social media, and I'm trying to find my way through what do I want to work on. Uh, and then I'm on nostalgia stuff. I'm watching old TV shows. I'm working on old tube radios. And I sit there and I go, there's got to be something new. I told you the last video, the remote control helicopter, that was the first new thing. And that was really hard at my age to learn how to fly that thing. And then that's about it. And I've been going like, and I tell you, putting garbage out here has become a big thing. They only pick up once a week, and the recyclables every other week, and the neighbors don't remember that. So they put the garbage out on a windy night, recyclables, they blow all over, and they don't pick it up. So if I don't clean the neighborhood, it starts looking like Philadelphia. I am not kidding you. And someone said, if it wasn't for you, this place would look really bad. And once before, someone says, oh, it's not that bad. So I said, okay, I'm going to stop picking up garbage for a few months. I'll let you look at it. And his house was one of the worst. He was on a corner. And I'd walk by, I go, gee, it don't look that bad today. And it was stuff all over in his bushes, because I hit the main area. There's a shopping mall around the corner. So if you go up there every few days and pick up all the junk, it doesn't blow around and then get on his property. Well, the shopping mall is busier than it's ever been. So the amount of garbage that comes off that parking lot, it comes off the parking lot, it makes a turn, it comes down a long street, it makes another turn, comes all the way up a long street, and gets caught in his bushes. Okay? And he told me, oh, that garbage isn't that bad. So I let it get like really bad. So someone reminded me about that last week. I was talking to him. He goes, I remember when you stopped doing this. I said, yeah. I said, I wanted to stick it to somebody, telling me it wasn't that bad. But that's one of the things I do. And I went out, today was a 3-bag day, 3 garbage bags of heavy stuff. A lot of it was Corona beer, it's glass bottles. Those were heavy. A complete 6-pack in the neighborhood. Person rode around throwing them out the windows. I got 3 and 3 were broken. I just got the necks picked up. But yeah, we got a lot of people that moved up from the city into our area, and they bring the crap with them. So that's what I do. But one of my hobbies is going around picking garbage up. And that's how I learned, met all the neighbors. And there are some neighbors, when I bump into them, I'll start talking. And they'll say, what are you doing? I said, I'm picking up the garbage. Well, when you do that? I said, I've been doing it for 12 years. I never say, yeah, you never saw me do it, so I've never actually done it for 12 years. Let's go down that road. But I think I'm done. But I want to show you this terminal. You probably go, I know what that is. Everybody knows it. No, not everybody. I didn't know. And there might be one that's straight through, but this is insulated. This top part is insulated. And this is what I used to use. To ground, not to ground. And I used to cut like right here, cut this, and then sand it back, and it would just be 2 terminals. And then sometimes you want 3 terminals, and then sometimes you just leave it the hell alone. But this is old school. I guess this is new school. These, you can get these sometimes 15 cents each, 90 cents if you buy 30. Okay? I think that's it. All right, that's it.